Hey everybody, how you doing? And boy, I'll tell you what, we got some weird stuff to talk about. The last video I did went off the charts actually. Had some problems with it. We're going to talk about bonds, Medicare, and that video, the Carnivore Diet and all the weight I lost. Let's go ahead and get started. Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm Rusty Nelson, and welcome. This is a channel we talk about the Villages, retirement, and now kind of spreading into some few other things, but it's basically the things that I'm going through in this part of my life, and a lot of that has to deal with the Villages and stuff that goes on around here, so I answer a bunch of questions, and that's what this is. I love these things where I do the questions and answers because even though I get some really goofy ones sometimes, most of them are pretty good. So I put these out on Sundays, and this will be important here in a second, but I usually put these out at Sunday at about 10 o'clock. And I do one a week unless there's some other things going on. And then I go ahead and I add on to it during the week. And usually that comes on Wednesday. So I had a couple of people write to me and say, you know, you can look up all those things you do in the calendars in the newspaper. Well, that's not entirely true because what's happened is a lot of times I'll be looking at the calendars and also sometimes they're not that easy to read or catch up with. So if I see a bunch of stuff coming, like I did one for this weekend where, you know, we got the auto show and then there's this other thing called Whimsy up in the polo grounds and stuff like that. I had never seen them before and I kind of generally look through the calendar. But anyway, I do them once in a while, so you can also look these things up on the calendars. With that said, the one that I did last week was one that I kind of shot from the hip. Before I even get started, if you haven't watched it, you won't understand what I'm about ready to say. I apologize so much for not stopping the start button on the microwave because it flashed through the whole thing and I know it drove some people crazy. So please accept my apologies for that. Trust me, the people that wrote to me, I had people tell me out on the pickleball court, hey, what's up with a flashing light, man? It was really off the cuff, off the hip, whatever you want to say. And basically, if you haven't seen it, it's about I started kind of a new way of eating, an experiment. And it's based on what's called the Carnivore Diet. And basically, it's just eating meat. Well, I lost about around 25 pounds in 30 days, and I continue to keep losing weight. But when I did this video, I really didn't know what to expect. You know, I get some crazy comments on here, and I was really expecting to get some absolutely goofy, barbaric comments. And just the opposite happened. I mean, incredibly, I got more comments on this video, good comments of people that do this. They actually, I mean, I thought I was going to be like the only one in the Villages. I have people stopping me now, playing pickleball and talking to me and saying, hey, this is the way we eat. This is the way we do it. And thank you so much. So some of these, as you know, the comments and questions come usually from the last few videos or in the near past, and I pull them out and answer them. So the beginning of this will some of it will be carnivore, but we'll get into bonds and Medicare and stuff like that on this one. And I try to put the menu down below, so when you scrub through it, you know, if you don't have any interest in a certain question or answer or that type of thing, you can just kind of move on to the next one. So it works out great for everybody. And also the chapters with the questions are down below with appropriate links when I can remember to put them in there. With that said, I'm going to have to do, I guess, a little bit of a change in the format of this because I know people want to follow along on this carnivore thing. So I think I'm going to try to put the carnivore stuff out like on Wednesdays, just because it's such a change in life. I mean, my body has just totally changed and for the better. For those asking, I did see Dr. Cywes, so I'm going to update on that and what happened with the tests if I get those answers back. But if not, I'll talk about my visit with him. And and then also pickleball. I got something really cool, I think, coming up with pickleball, and I'll be working with a company, so I'll put those out on kind of Wednesdays. But please don't think that it's like changing the format. Still on Sundays are going to be things going on in the villages and questions about the villages and the filter videos and everything else about the villages. And when I can, I'll throw these in on Wednesdays dealing with those other subjects, because it's a big change in my life and it's a big part of my life. And now I'm realizing how big a part this diet thing and way of life actually affects people in the villages, the people that are participating in this. And we'll do some of these questions, you'll find out. So anyway, let's go ahead and jump into the first few questions, and they're going to be all over the place today. Here we go. The first one, I'm going to start out with kind of a negative one first. And honestly, I don't get too many negative things on here directed at me. Sometimes they're pretty good critiques, and I take some of them to heart, and I'll change things on here. So thank you so much for those. But anyway, Georgie Porgy writes, and I've seen a couple more of your negative ones, but I'm going to put this up here anyways. As I followed you since the start of this channel, now I feel you're just posting videos to get hits on YouTube and cash in. And this was, if you haven't seen it, I'm doing a series with a friend of mine, Ray, and Ashley, and they're actually building a house over in the Enclave. And he's been so nice about going through the whole process from, when they originally conceived doing this and moving down there. We got video of us down in the Enclave, and he had just gotten done his whole visit. So he knew now exactly how much everything was going to cost. So he asked me, he says, do you think people will be interested? And I said, yeah, I think so. Well, just to let you know, Georgie Porgy, this is one of the better videos of the whole series, and people thanked us a lot for doing this, because you have to remember that people outside the villages have no concept of what's going on in here and what it costs to build something and that type of thing. So here he broke down some of the costs, so possibly for anybody that is doing this, I mean, we that live down here, we've been through it, so we know. But for the people that don't live here, that are kind of thinking about it, and there are those people, which you'll see with the next kind of comment or question. Oh, I got beeping. It is interesting to them, and I did get a bunch of comments on it. So anyway, I really want to thank Ray, because Ray really keeps up with answering a lot of your comments and questions regarding these videos, and I just don't have the answers for it. So thank you so much, Ray and Ashley, for including in this. I know you got to be breaking ground really soon, and maybe we'll get some pictures of that while you're doing that. Anyway, on to the next one. Just a quick note on the last comment is that, yeah, there's going to be some things added in, some pickleball things, and some of this kind of change your way of eating life kind of thing. But don't think that's what this channel is going to become about. It's always going to have the Sunday fun things like this and things exactly about the villages. But you never know. You may learn some things from the other stuff, because it was definitely a big change in life, as you'll see here in a second. But anyway, the next one is, and we kind of forget, if we all live here, and that there's a whole world out there that asks this questions: what is the villages? And so that's what April asked. So I had done my first video over 2 years. Oh man, where's time go? Over 2 years ago. Here's a quick clip from it.
Why is this guy standing out in the pouring rain? Well, it was a week ago that I was standing out and then walking around in the pouring rain, freezing my butt off, that all of a sudden I decided that since I was approaching that retirement age, it would be a great time to go ahead and head down to the villages to see what the villages is all about. Now, if you don't know what it is, it's an over 55 retirement community in Florida. And I've heard a lot of rumors of what it is, what it isn't. So I decided to just create a YouTube channel and start shooting from the very beginning, from my first phone call on to, well, who knows how long. It could last a lifetime, it could last a week.
Yeah, that's right. That's me over 2 years ago going to the villages, and I had no idea. But real quick, April, it is a 55 over and over community here in the United States in Central Florida, just smack dab pretty much in the middle of it, and seriously spreading out all over the place. And it has, it was started some time ago, actually really started blossom back in the 1980s. And there's over 140,000 homes and growing very quickly. And now recently they've added on a new area because they need the infrastructure of people and talent, so, doctors, teachers, that type of thing, of an area called Middleton, which is, that's really growing and selling really well too. And the high school is absolutely incredible down there. But the two are supposed to be separate from each other. There's just the one area, but the same developer builder, and that's it. You may want to check into it, and you just go to villages.com, and you can see a lot of stuff. Or you could go back and start watching that first video I did. And basically what I do is you can go along with me, and it goes from there, this video, to my first phone call, my first visit, and here I am. Anyway, on to the next one. Let's see. Next one is from this. If you haven't watched it, the carnivore thing, and the reason I did it is, first of all, let me say I'm not a doctor. This is an experiment I did with myself, and it's one of those experiments that I kind of went into, and I went, oh my God, this is working. I lost 25 pounds in the first month. So there's going to be a few more of these, and like I said, they'll probably come out on maybe Wednesdays instead of on the normal Sunday, because I don't want them to take place of my Villages kind of oriented retirement videos. But anyway, Sharon writes, "Hi Rusty, I'm from Lancaster, PA, and we winter in Juno Beach, Florida. We are coming for a lifestyle visit on December 26th. So congratulations on doing that. Just be advised that during that time, it's a little different down here because a lot of people are going back to their homes or they're celebrating Christmas someplace else. But I think you'll find out, make sure you go to some of the rec centers because they are decorated to the nines. The squares are really decorated up, and they do the tree lighting then. And I don't know whether you're going to stay here for New Year's, but have a good time, and I'm sure you will. Just take advantage of everything. Go ride the golf cart around as much as you can. You'll learn a lot about the place. We love all your videos. Thank you very much. But this one hits home. This is the one about my new kind of lifestyle diet thing. And trust me, folks, I am not a preacher of this stuff because most of my life, I treated my body like a tent rather than a temple. Thanks for putting this out there and being open and sharing with us. Yes, I definitely will. Things that I find out about this, I will let you know, just so my carnivore friends know. Thank you so much for all of those comments and your life experiences with this. I'm absolutely flabbergasted. I just made an appointment with Dr. Cywes in Jupiter. Really cool. I'm glad you did that. He, at least with me, a really nice guy. I've already had my appointment. I haven't had a chance to make a video about it, but I will, and talk about what actually happened then. So make sure you're subscribed. You might get some heads up on some things. I would not have known him about it if it wasn't for this video. I am sure that you know that being from Lancaster, it's a huge battle against carbs. Yeah, folks, I can tell you what, when I started to learn about this, the damage with all the carbs, pasta, bread, and all that kind of stuff, sugars, and the way I was living, what it was doing to my body. If you haven't seen it, you see me going like this because basically the arthritis feeling in my hands is gone. I've lost the weight, blah, blah, blah. But more on that in the other videos. I think I've seen all your videos and they've been very valuable to us. My husband even had a nice conversation with Crystal. Man, Sharon, you guys are getting all the good stuff, the good videos to help you out here with Crystal, Andres, and after viewing your Medicare video, yeah, folks, don't forget it is the middle of Medicare season right now. If you are going to turn 65 or you're coming up on 65, you may want to listen to some of these videos. She's a super lady that I use, and I can't vouch for her any more than I already have. She is swamped right now because it is the middle of her season, so just stand by if she doesn't answer you right away. Thanks for doing all you're doing, and you're helping a lot of people with information about the villages and so many other things. Looking forward to your next video. Pennsylvania neighbor. Go Birds, go Eagles. Yeah. So thank you very much, Sharon. I'm glad that all helped you out. Now let me, I got to click up the next one here because it kind of has to do with something along that, but from the same video. And it's just an example of these things that I've gotten, but it also has to do with the Villages a little bit because I'm absolutely amazed at how many people here at the Villages are involved in this kind of way of lifestyle. Once again, I am not a nutritionist. This is just an experiment for myself, but I am really flabbergasted. I started KWAJ something lady. I started out paleo and then low carb, then keto, then carnivore almost 5 years ago. I lost 40 pounds in the first year. Huge congratulations. Really cool. Kept it off ever since. I mostly follow blah, 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 Dr. Solanito, still don't eat sugar. Yeah, that's huge. I cut that out. Seed, vegetable oils, grain, or alcohol. Well, I like having a martini every once in a while, but I've definitely cut out the grains and I can tell the difference. Added a piece of fruit a day and small amount of honey. The blood work is still perfect. That's good if it's working out for you. You're going to find out there's a lot of variations with this. Honey, a lot of people argue in this. Honey is, basically, if you don't know it, honey is bee puke. And it is just high in carbs and really, really a sugar thing. So it doesn't do well with me, especially at night. It keeps me up. If you would be interested in getting together to discuss starting such a group, so a group about this type of lifestyle, I'm sorry. I guess that means you must live here in the Villages. I can't do that. I just don't have the time to do it. I'd love to come to the meetings or come by, but then as you can see, Susan down there said, yes, interested. So I would subscribe to this. If you guys want to communicate with each other, you can communicate through that. And if you want to start a Facebook page, I'm sure some people would be interested. Maybe, yes, I am interested. All the best. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. I can't, I just don't have the time. I really don't have the time. This takes too much time as it is, but I'd be glad to come to the meetings and talk to some people and kind of let you know what my experiences are. So let's go on to the next one. Maybe we'll go on to Medicare right now. Okay, here we go. Rusty, your video is very informative and well produced. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I like you prefer real Medicare with a supplemental plan. Have you had any difficulty finding a primary care physician in or near the Villages? I'm hearing that the Villages healthcare system only accepts Medicare Advantage. Well, so if you don't know it, and I'm not an expert in this, I would call Crystal if you want to know more about it, or you're thinking about doing one or the other. You're going to get a straight answer from her, and or watch those videos that I have. Just type in Medicare in my channel, and you'll get it. This is the basics of it. The Villages has their own advantage system that they're involved in. And then there is Medicare. I've heard great things about their advantage program, of insurance, but it's not for everybody. For myself, Medicare was a lot better. And so the way I understand it is that you can use when I say the specialists that are involved with that system, their healthcare system, UF Healthcare, I think, whatever it is, you can use their specialists, but their primary care physicians, PCPs, you cannot use them if you are on regular Medicare, government Medicare with a supplement, the red, white, and blue card. The advantage plans are not the government Medicare. You can argue with me as much as you want, but they are not. It's a simple fact. I went and I got what's called a concierge primary care physician. So in other words, I pay him $700 a year extra and above everything else. And I pretty much have carte blanche. Like I want to go get an appointment. It seems like everything's pretty much open. We'll see till the end of the year. I'm not going to say who it is until I've experienced it for a while, see how it goes, because I haven't had that much experience with it. So that's it. And he takes Medicare. So I know you have to find a primary care physician if you're on Medicare. So that's it. On to the next one. As I said before, I tend to forget that not everybody knows about the villages. And this is one from one of the first videos that I wrote when I went down to the villages, or one of the first videos I did when I went down to the villages and rented a house for 30 days. Because I really wanted to see what it was like. And I highly suggest that was a pretty good idea. I had done a lifestyle, and then I thought, okay, I've done a lifestyle, and I went and privately rented a house. If you have some idea that you want to do that, I would watch this video that MS, whatever that is there, is talking about. It says, hello, I was wondering if you actually buy a place there, I guess, versus renting homes. Are you able to legally own guns in your home? Yeah. For people that are kind of like jumping in this first time and not quite sure what the villages is, the community is over 140,000 homes. And there's about 15, 17 is kind of growing these little kind of villages, but you wouldn't really know that it's a village. It's just a way of separating governments, these little mini governments. And if you don't understand that, I did a video on the taxes, bonds, and a CDD, exactly what that is too. You can look that up. So it's just like my hometown that I lived in the suburbs back in Abington, Pennsylvania. You own the land, you own the house, and you basically, the only difference between that and other thing is you kind of, when you come here, you agree that you're going to live a certain way. In other words, you're not going to be changing your oil in the driveway, and you're going to cut your lawn. It's not going to look like raggedy. You're going to keep the house up. It's not going to need to be painted. So you're kind of living in those rules, and there's nothing wrong with that, because if that's the way you want your neighborhood and that's the way you want to live, then you move here and you agree with all your neighbors in your certain district that, hey, I like the way this is, and I like the fact that there's all this entertainment, and there's the pickleball courts and basketball courts and rec centers and everything else. And it definitely maintains a certain standard. So that's about it. But for those folks that don't understand it, it is just like living in any normal suburban house, I guess you would say. All right. Continuing on. And speaking of pickleball, the user of this person writes, what is your favorite place to play pickleball? And well, it's kind of evolved. When I was here on a lifestyle visit, I played over at Eisenhower. That was some pretty good pickleball. But, as things changed and I moved down to St. Catherine, which is where I bought my house, I play over at Izell for convenience. Now, with that said, once you move here, you'll start to find that the open play times from 7 to 10, usually every morning on all the courts are open 7 to 10. You'll find that certain pickleball areas and courts and stuff like that take on their own personality. Like I believe like up at Cypress, you'll find that most of the players there are like around a 4.0 or above, that type of thing. And I haven't played up there in a long time, but that's about it. And you'll find that if you're not playing at that level, you'll feel uncomfortable pretty quick. In fact, I actually, the people that, if you're a beginner and you walk into an area and you're playing and you don't feel comfortable, you probably don't belong there. And the villages makes times for people around in the areas for just beginners. So the courts will maybe at 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock will be for all beginners, and you're supposed to be a beginner there. And so there's other places like over at Everglades Rec Center. They kind of take on a different personality over there. But that's about it. You got to kind of find your area to go play in. They're all really nice courts. Everything's really nice. So with that, with knowing that, like I said, I got something pretty cool coming up, I think, with some pickleball. I may be working with kind of a major company doing some things. We'll see what happens. I can't say anything about it now because I don't know what's going to happen, but I will do those videos probably every once in a while on Wednesdays about pickleball around here and pickleball in general. I'm no pro, but I am learning. So anyway, let's find out the next one. Let's get on to some maybe bonds or something like that, since we kind of just talked about that. Here we go, the whole bond thing down here in the villages. A lot of people don't understand this. Please go watch that video. If you don't, that's going to explain a lot about bonds and the villages, how the government works, CDDs, that type of thing, and how we vote those people in the districts, that type of thing. But Frank writes, what will the bond cost be? Now, we're talking about Ray and Ashley's place down in the enclave. You have to understand this is a little bit bigger house than normal. And the way bonds work here in the villages, there are what's called units. And I'm not going to get into this deep because you need to watch the video, but you have units. And in that unit, there are so many properties in that unit. And each one of those houses pays the exact same bond. Doesn't matter the size or the value or whatever. They pay a bond because they're paying it basically to be part of that unit. Now, let me explain something. Before folks get on here and they start leaving me comments, I wouldn't pay a bond, what is this with bond? Trust me, if you bought a house and it's on land, unless you're up living with your own urinal in the backyard and an outhouse and stuff, you basically paid a bond. It just means if you're going to say that, you don't quite understand what the bond is. Really quick. So, well, anyway, to answer this question, what will the bond be? It's $72,000 on Ray's house. Now, that is an exception. Mine was about $27,000 on my house, if you can tell the difference there. I have a much smaller home. And this is 2.5, 3 years ago. But anyway, basically the bond pays for the infrastructure. And the way it works is you pay the bond off over 30 years, and it's attached to your property. Now, it may seem weird, but the thing is if you bought a house and a builder came and built the house, he's got to pay or she's got to pay for the infrastructure for that land. They buy a plot of land and they have to build up the infrastructure. You're going to pay it whether they attach it to the house or whether it's separate. In the villages, it's separate because it allows them, they've taken a big bond out, and I'm explaining this very basic, to build out the infrastructure before you get here, right? Before you get here, that's all built out. So instead of a builder or developer and a smaller one saying, we're going to build 1,000 homes and then we're going to build a rec center and a golf course. They build the rec center, the golf course, and everything else, and then we all move in. And that's kind of the way it works. Doesn't always quite work out that way, but it's close enough. You know it's going to happen. Anyway, that's what the bond is, $72,000. If you don't understand that, please go watch that video. Because if you ask in the comments, I'm just going to say watch the video. So there we go. On to another one. Oh, let's say while we're talking about moving here, let's talk about becoming a Floridian. Here we go. Yeah, this one's really important. I'll tell you why, because it actually cost me some money because I didn't quite understand becoming a Floridian and declaring my homestead and everything else about how valuable that could be to you. And so Scott writes, Rusty will be closing on our house in the villages on February 7th. I stumbled upon your channel and want to say thank you for putting together all the valuable information. I almost didn't watch this video because I knew that I had this figured out. Well, I thought I did too. Well, I'm so glad I did because you saved my butt on the VIN verification. Had I not watched this video, I would have showed up without my VIN verification form and we would have wasted a lot of time, money, hotels, and plane ticket. So I owe you a beer. Thanks a lot. Don't owe me a beer. Thanks a lot for watching. I really appreciate it. But yeah, it's definitely worth watching this because it talks about becoming, homesteading your house, the things that you're going to have to do. And I basically walk you through the whole thing. And I'll tell you how I got in trouble. When you homestead your home, you will save a little bit of money on your taxes. Now, you can't be homesteaded up in Wisconsin and down here too. You basically are saying that you are going to be a citizen of Florida, and you have to fill out. A lot of people don't know there's a form called a declaration of domicile, that type of thing. There's a bunch of different things that they don't quite tell you, and if you don't hear about them, you could get in trouble down the road. But the big thing is homesteading your home. What it does is it protects you from having increases in your taxes. In other words, you're limited to about 3% on your home as an increase from the assessed value. Well, I decided to put mine off for a year and I didn't quite get mine in on time. And I probably picked the worst time because, as you know, the prices over the last couple of years have gone up a lot. So now all of a sudden my home is assessed at that value. Had it not been assessed at that value and held it at 3%, I would have been paying a lot less taxes each year. So anyway, watch the video, get yourself protected, and that's it. Remember, I'm not a real estate agent. I'm not a lawyer. It's not advice. I'm just kind of jogging your memory to get these things done. And the next one is about this, and I'll tell you about that right now. Yeah, that's all about this little thing. If you don't know what it is, we'll talk about it in a second here. Rusty, are you diabetic? Well, since I lost all this weight, I had a lot of people asking me questions about, are you okay? You look like you've lost a lot of weight. And, no. In fact, I'm better than I have ever been, I think. And the follow-on question is Rusty, how did you get the VA clinic doctor to prescribe you I guess they meant CGM, being you are not diabetic? Well, here's the deal. I don't want to get into this too much, but basically what this is, if you don't know it, it follows my glucose. And it kind of pings out every minute to my phone and lets me know and has a graph on there to do that. And it was a definite eye-opener when I got it. Now, let me explain how I got it. I still use my primary care physician, in addition to my one down here up in Philadelphia. So I just called her up and I said, hey, I want to get one. And she goes, well, why? And I said, it's pretty much a motivational thing. And I kind of want to learn on what's going on in my body. And she goes, oh, sure, no problem. Just be advised that insurance is not going to pay for it. So, basically, that's what I did, and I got mine through Walgreens, and I think they cost me about $41 every 2 weeks, so about $82 is what it cost me. Somehow Walgreens figured out some kind of cheapo way to get it, but they can be a lot more expensive than that. But that's how I got it, and that's basically how much it costs me to do that. So that's it. I don't know how the VA works with that, but that's generally the way it is. If you are not diabetic, you're not receiving insulin, they will not pay for it. But for me, it was a motivational thing, and to me, worth every single penny. Just a couple more questions. Here's a good one that I really don't know the answer to, so I'll probably reach out to you guys out there if you know for sure. I know there's a couple of Canadian clubs here, but Terry Murphy writes, Rusty, are there lots of Canadian snowbirds in the villages? I'm not sure what's, Canada, Canadian. I'm not sure what that is. It looks like California to me, but anyway. I tried looking this up and I really couldn't find anything definitive. I know there's a club here that there's like 600 and some members. So I'm sure everybody doesn't belong that size. A couple of thousand, I don't know, 3,000, 2,000, I don't know. But during COVID, obviously from, 2020, I guess, till it wasn't until 2021 where we were allowed to go back and forth across the border. So I remember when I first came down here, everybody was saying, oh yeah, the Canadians aren't down here, so there's not a lot going on with the snowbirds. But hey, if you know, put it down in the comments and how you found that information really help out a lot. I think we only got like one or two more left, so let's give them a shot. I got one golf cart one after this, and then we're done. John writes, "Hi, can you do a video on your menus for a week or a day that has to do with this diet thing?" I'm telling you what, I'm so sorry I can't answer all the comments that I have on there and questions and stuff like that. Just remember, I am just starting out on this, so this is a lot of new stuff for me. And but I can make this really easy. I will include this picture. This is a picture of my dinner last night. It is a ribeye steak, and it is pan fried with garlic butter and a little bit of thyme on top of it. And yes, those are avocados there. I like having a little bit of avocado along with that because those are good fats. And it really doesn't do anything to my glucose level at all, which is all part of the system. But I can tell you what my lunch was today. I had a small mustard smash burger and with bacon on it and some cheese and a fried egg. And that's it. And before anybody makes any comments, my blood test levels after the first 30 days were better than they have been in the last 15 years. Anyway, let's do the one last golf cart one here. Hang on a second. Let's do it. Here you go. And this is kind of funny, really. When I bought my golf cart, we made a video, went in and made it inside one of the Village's golf cart stores. It actually came out really, really well. And I had a friend of mine, Lee, take me down there. And you know what? I'll show you a clip of it really quick right here, and then we'll read the question. I just drove all the way down from Philadelphia to do something that I think is going to make me an official villager. And my friend Lee right here is taking me there to go do it. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, time to get started. We're off. And that was about it. And seriously, that's about all I can show you is the very beginning and the very end, simply for the reason that we shot it all inside of the Village's store. And I told the manager, I said, well, I won't publish this unless we actually get permission from the Village's, their communication department or whatever, to go ahead and publicize this. And I must have written to them 5 times trying to do that, but I keep getting these questions and stuff like that still. This is like what? Year and a half later or something like that. I don't know. Hi, Rusty. I was just wondering, did you ever get the okay from the Villages about the video on the golf cart purchasing? Have a great week. No, I haven't, John. Looks like a great day. So what's the story about the Villages not allowing you to pick up your golf cart? Couldn't be shown on YouTube. Well, I could pick up the golf cart, as you can see at the end of there, but they couldn't show me. They wouldn't allow me to do that. I don't quite understand why. I didn't even get an answer from them, so maybe I'll try again. I keep getting these things from people, and obviously people want to see it. And like I said, it turned out really well and kind of explains the whole process. So if you have the number to their media or communications department, go ahead and give them a call and say, hey, we want to see Rusty Nelson's golf cart video. Okay it or whatever. I'm laughing about this whole thing. Anyway, this is a long one, but if you guys made it this far, thank you so much. You know how much I appreciate it. And I'll tell you what, the comments on that one Carnivore Diet one, pretty amazing. I will have some pickleball, cool stuff about pickleball here in the Villages and just cool stuff. I'm going to travel, I think, a little bit. We'll see what happens with this whole thing with the pickleball. But yeah, the carnivore thing, that'll be coming. I'll probably do those on Wednesdays along with the pickleball, kind of alternate those in and out, but still have the Sunday kind of fun things about the Villages. Thank you so much for hanging in here. Thank you so much for all the absolutely amazing comments recently. I really appreciate it. Anyway, everybody have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful weekend. Thanksgiving's coming up soon. I hope you get to celebrate it soon. And Yeah, that's about it. I'll either see you back down here in the villages. I'll see you out here at the weekend. I'll probably be up at the car show wandering around, and or I'll see you back here on YouTube. You have a wonderful day, and thanks for joining me.